you know. Okay, so hey guys, today we have a special guest, Ivana Poku. I hope I pronounced your surname right.
Yeah, that's right. No worries.
She's a brilliant mother from many aspects, but she's really,
Yes.
really courageous because today she's joining us to tell her story about her struggles and depression and anxiety after having her twins mothers. We're talking double here, so this woman is a superhero. She managed to defeat that. So she's gonna share with us everything and then advise us and just teach us a thing or two. So, Ivana, if you just want to introduce yourself, say where you're from, talk a little bit about your boys, how old they are.
Yeah. My name is Ivana, although everyone calls me Ivanka because Ivana is too formal, but it's alright. I come from Slovakia and I have the two little gorgeous boys, Mason and Henry. I live in England with my husband and my boys, and yeah, don't know what else I could tell. I run a blog, momsjourney.com, where I describe first of all, I describe my story as a mom of twins, and then I also write about maybe just daily life.
That's actually how
Life, yeah.
we got in contact, isn't it? Because I was browsing the internet and then I found your blog on postpartum depression, and I just simply
Yes.
found it brilliant. The content was brilliant, but the way you
Thank
put
you.
yourself out there and the your honesty in saying exactly like, yeah, you know what, it was fucking hell. That's what I've been through. Like
Yes,
I
yes.
was like, I need to talk to this mother. I have
Oh,
to.
thank you.
So let's talk a little bit about your pregnancy, especially the last term of the pregnancy, because that's like the one that tends to be like the hardest on women, and especially having twins. Like I don't know anybody with twins, but I can see
Mhm.
pictures online with ladies having twins, and the size of the tummy is.
Yes, but you know what the funny thing is that you don't find it that big because from above you don't see it. It doesn't look massive. So everyone tells you, "Oh, you're so big," and I'm like, "Really?" But then when I see the picture, I'm like, "Yeah, I was really big. Yeah, I was big. It was so heavy. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't walk. I couldn't sleep. So yeah, last 2 months maybe were the hardest. Although I managed to get married when I was in seventh month, so I
Oh.
don't understand how, but yeah, I made it.
Did you dance at the wedding?
Yes, 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 yes. Really, I was surprised because I didn't expect me to, move, and yeah, it was great. The breathing problem was the worst, I'd say. Walking up the stairs, that was killing me. But yeah, last couple of weeks I could only lie down, and that was basically it.
So I guess you were I guess you were quite happy after you gave birth to them.
For 5 minutes maybe.
Because
Then other problems
it was the
started.
same with my son. Like I felt so heavy, and I actually gained 6 stone in pregnancy, so I was really heavy, and
Oh.
like I couldn't wait to give birth. I was just
Yes,
then
yes, we
I
can't
just waited.
wait.
Most mothers are scared that, oh,
Yeah.
I don't know, labor. I was like, please labor, come.
Yes, yes, me. I was the same exactly, and I wanted to see the babies finally. I couldn't wait to hold them, so that was another reason for me to look forward to it.
So you said you were happy only for 5 minutes. I imagine it was a bit longer than 5 minutes. But
Yeah.
are you trying to say that like you actually started to feel the depression like really soon after
Yes,
giving
yes, yes.
birth?
I think it was rather baby blues than depression during the first weeks.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I had C-section, emergency C-section, so I didn't really have contractions and all this pain before the birth. So yeah, I remember when everything was over, they put me to one room with other moms, and they're screaming babies, but my kids were in incubator, so I didn't really see them right away. And I remember when all those babies around me were screaming, and I had this pain in my belly, the scar. That made me so anxious. I was crying like a baby as well. And I said to my husband, I need to get out of here, otherwise I'll go nuts, I'll go crazy, or I'll kill someone. So I said, I know they have like private rooms. And I said, please, I don't care how much it is. I just need to go there because I can't listen to all these babies around me. You know, it's like you suffer physically, plus, you know, you hear all these babies. So I don't know if that makes sense, but it was driving me
I know
crazy.
exactly what you're saying. Like, my baby was at peace. After birth, they put me in a room. He was at peace, and then the other ones were screaming, so he would start screaming as well. And just like you, I was like, "Can I go home, please?
Yes,
Let me go home.
yes.
Like, I can't take this anymore."
It's the last thing you need to hear.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, I don't care if there's any complications. I'll call you. I'll come back. Just let me go.
Yes. So yeah, we got the room, and I remember when I first saw the babies, it was, I just need to jump back a bit. It was 3 hours after the C-section, because they had to go incubator right away. So they couldn't give them to me, obviously. So we saw them after 3 or 4 hours. Because everyone tells you before, oh, you just wait till you see them. It's something amazing. But when I saw them, I didn't really feel a loss. That shocked me, really. Maybe it's because, you know, some time passed, so it wasn't right away. And they were closed in those incubators, so I didn't even touch them. I just saw them like a picture.
Yeah.
So
that was exactly what happened to me as well. And
oh, really?
I'm just
Did you feel the same?
That's how depression starts. Yeah, it was the same. Like, I was holding him, and you know, I gave birth to him. Like, I had to push hard. So I don't know if after I was done, I was crying of happiness that it was done, or of happiness that he's out. Like, I can't tell you exactly the reason why I was crying. I was just happy it ended. And exactly as you say, like, I was looking at him, and I'm like, okay, like, I know this thing is mine.
Yes.
It's mine.
Yes.
But like, I ain't feeling it. I'm not. It was actually my partner that dressed him up. Like, I was just lying down there, and I'm like, you do it. I'm tired. I just pushed him.
Yeah.
Like, very
And
cold.
we have high expectations, I think. So maybe we put a pressure on ourselves before. Maybe it's not necessary. Just maybe if I didn't expect that feeling that much, I don't know. It doesn't matter now. But anyway, I didn't feel what I expected to be feeling. And then yeah, after maybe 2 days of after being in a hospital, they let us hold them. That's when I started to feel something, but it was like a rolling coaster. For a couple of minutes, I felt this, you know, mom's love, something like, oh, wow. And then 10 minutes later, it was gone. Yeah, so it was like swings during couple of first days. The nurses told us that if I want to breastfeed, I need to stay with them in a hospital for as long as needed, as necessary, because if I want to breastfeed, I obviously can't go home and then back to the hospital. I need to be there with them 24/7. So I decided, okay, and that was the worst week and something, maybe 10 days of my life, really, because we were closed, all 4 of us. We were closed in the room that was the size of a shoebox. And I have claustrophobia, so you can imagine how I felt. So you can imagine, they were basically strangers, these kids, to me at that time. So when we had them there, my husband was going to work every day. I can't imagine how he did that. And I was with them alone. I remember I was looking at them and I was like, I was crying. And I was regretting, why did we make this decision? Why the hell did we want these kids? I felt like my life was over completely. Like, I was having flashbacks all the time. I saw my previous life, and I was so sad that it's gone.
That's exactly how I felt. I was looking back myself, and I'm like, you know what? I haven't lived my life enough. Like, I haven't traveled enough. I haven't partied enough. I haven't loved enough. Like, I haven't done shit.
You start
and
to
now
think.
I can't even shower or use toilet without holding him. Like, how the fuck am I gonna live my life from now on?
Yes.
It is just that regret that you could have achieved so much more before doing
Yes.
this step.
Yes. You start to think too much, exactly. And I think that happens to every mom, even those who don't feel depressed or
There's moms who say it out loud, and there's moms who don't.
Yes.
And those
So yeah,
who don't say it are the ones that 20 years later, they're still depressed.
Yeah.
And they still feel sorry for their lives. You assume, yeah, that's how I felt. That's what it was. That's behind me. And now, you know, I have a happy family.
Yeah. Yeah, there is no reason to be shy. That will be my message in the end.
Yeah,
So,
we're getting there. We're getting there. So
where was I? Yeah, that 1 week. Yeah. So all the time I was. Did you breastfeed?
Yeah, I'm still doing that at 15
Ah,
months.
perfect. Good. So you know how hard it is. This is something I didn't know either. How hard it is to train and to learn to breastfeed. Everyone was just asking before, do you want to breastfeed? Yeah, of course, but no one told me how hard it can be to practice. So anyway,
It has to do with our cultures, because like mine and yours as well, because they're very similar in that part of the
Yes.
world. And we are very traditional, and like everybody's breastfeeding. Like I don't think I know anybody giving bottle to a baby, which is
yes.
6 months or 1 year old. It's like we were raised like this. You're supposed to breastfeed.
Yes, of course you are. There is no other way.
Yeah, exactly. So we never actually like, you know, personally, I never did any research into it, as you say. Like I had no idea. I thought it's so natural, and it proved, as you say, to be really hard.
It was.
Especially too, I can't even imagine too. Like you have my whole appreciation.
Thank
you. Brought both of them to 17 months old. Like
some moms have 3. Can you imagine? This is something I admire. No, I admire every mom, of course, but yeah, it always can be worse. Also, one thing led to another. That no space. Basically, we couldn't even take them out of the room. That was a nightmare. And I remember every day I was looking at them like a zombie and crying, like why? And then, thank God we had this midwife's check. So they asked me every day, how are you feeling? But I didn't want to tell. I didn't want to show it. But after maybe after 5-6 days, you know what, you reach the point and you just can't hide it anymore. You break completely. So during one of these checks, I started to cry, and she just closed the door, and she knew immediately what was happening. So she sent some counselor to talk to me. That was really nice. I think that my main issue was that I felt my life was over, I was done, and I was trying to ask my friends with kids for some advice, but at the same time I didn't want them to know how I felt. So I desperately wanted someone to tell me that you can be happy. This is what I needed. But people didn't know how I felt, so they didn't tell me this. I just needed some, light at the end of the tunnel. And I remember one nurse, she was so nice. She just started to chat with us at night, because they were always coming at night to check. And for no reason, she just started to talk to me and was saying that she had twins as well, and how hard it was first, but then how she managed to live her life like she used to live before. And the story she was telling me and everything, how she managed to cope, that gave me so much hope. That was the breaking point, maybe. During that week, that kept me going. I was like, okay, maybe I can live, actually, my life. It's funny because you don't think you can actually live your life when you're feeling depressed.
And it's funny because once you manage to overcome all this and just leave it behind you, you actually come to realize that actually your life is times more beautiful.
Yes, exactly.
And it's like, how do you go from I was personally hating my child, like I was hating him. How do you go from that to the child being the most important, like nothing else matters, absolutely nothing.
These black souls, they're not real. It's not you, it's something that possesses your mind. I think it's not you that feels these feelings and thinks these thoughts. That's
Oh,
what I think.
I'm sorry you felt like that, but I love that you said that, because I keep saying that postnatal depression is like a separate identity that literally takes over you.
Yes, so true.
When did you know and how did you realize that you actually suffering of postnatal depression?
It was actually 6 months after this week. I just make it short. So yeah, that week was really hard, but I'm not sure if that was depression or baby blues or mix of both. I don't know. And also when we got home from hospital, I remember I was crying all the time. I was, because you are used to that. You're used to living in that place. You used to be in that place, just two of you. Yeah, you and your husband or partner, whatever. And all of a sudden you have kids there, and they'll be there forever. No, forever. You know what I
No,
mean?
forever. Yes, that's
So,
exactly how you feel. You feel like forever they're gonna be little
oh my
and crying
God.
and disturbing you.
Yes. Oh my God. And I couldn't cope. I couldn't. When I was hanging their clothes, I just that was like, no, I can't do this. I can't. This reminds me of them. Yeah. And yeah, I had worse thoughts than this, but I don't really want to go there. After maybe, I don't know how it's possible, but after maybe one month, I felt better. Yes, so I was okay. So it might have been just baby blues, but around when boys were around 6 months, we went to Slovakia. So I had help from family for around 4 weeks, and then my dad came back with me. So yeah, all of a sudden I had all this help, because here in England I'm usually alone during the day. And when my dad left, that's when it started. Yes, so that was the postnatal depression. I didn't want to live. I wanted to end my life. I mean, I wouldn't do it. I don't think I would. But you just don't feel the.
It was a recurrent thought that kept coming.
Yeah,
isn't it?
yeah. You don't feel you don't see the purpose, your purpose in this life all of a sudden. You feel like all I'm doing is just changing nappies and feed them. That's all I do. This is my life. Yeah, so I was like, what's the point? I remember one day when I was at home with the boys, obviously, and I was expecting my very close friend to come over. And I knew she was on the way, and all of a sudden it came. Yeah, you know that you're sitting, you're doing nothing, but nothing special, and like you said, something takes over your brain. I remember I was having Henry in a lap, and he was smiling at me, and all of a sudden I felt I wanna do something to him. I wanna harm him. I don't know why. They didn't cry. That's the funny thing about it.
Yeah, it's like you suddenly get this feeling like, shit, I
Yes.
don't want to do this. Like, it's
Yes.
simply, even if the baby does nothing, as you say, it's just, I don't want this life. I don't
Yes.
want it. Why am I being
Exactly.
punished? Why am I being punished with a
Yes.
healthy baby?
Mm-hmm.
Take this away from me.
So
I'm sorry.
true.
I'm
Exactly.
laughing because, like, I'm trying not to cry, because every time I talk about it and every time I
Yeah.
talk with a fellow mom about it, like, it brings all that pain back. Because I was trying to explain to my partner the kind of pain that I've been through, and I told him that even if my whole family dies overnight, I'm not gonna feel the same sadness
Yeah.
that I felt then. Unless you lived it, you cannot describe it.
Yeah.
That's how I talk about postnatal depression. Unless you lived it, you
You
can't.
can't describe. Yeah, I need to turn off the feelings as well to be able to share, but I want to share. So yeah, he was smiling basically, and I wanted to do some. But thank God we still have this common sense somewhere in subconscious, or I don't know.
Do you think it was the love for your partner that would, prevent you from actually touching them? Like, what would he think of you? Maybe, he would leave you, take the babies. Did
They
you
didn't.
think of that? No.
No, what stopped me, I wouldn't have actually done anything. I don't think I would have. Because common sense was still there, thank God. Although I had this desire to do something to him, I was like, okay, I have to leave him. I need to leave the room. Otherwise, I'll do something horrible. Yeah, so thank God I had this common sense still within me. So I just put him in the chair, strapped him and went to the bedroom, and I locked the door because I was scared of myself. And I knew this friend was on the way, so I just texted her. No, at first I called Yao. Yeah, at first I called my husband. And yeah, I was crying. I was like, what happened? What happened? And I told him. And he was like, okay, calm down. I'm on my way. And I said, no, no, no. Because he works in London, so it would take ages, 2 hours. I said, don't worry, Lenka, my friend is on the way here. So I'll be fine. I just need to talk to you while I'm waiting. Then I texted her just to tell, please hurry because I'm a mess. She didn't know because no one knew apart from my husband, yeah, and those midwives in the hospital. So yeah, she came. I don't even remember what I was doing, but we were talking about it only a couple of weeks ago with her, and she was describing that situation to me from her point of view, and she said, I was really scared because the kids were smiling and you were shouting at them, be quiet, and they were smiling. It's like, oh my goodness, I don't remember this at all, so I must have been really in a horrible state. So she took me out. She said, okay, we're going out, you can't be here, because at that time we lived in a flat, so we didn't, and there was no lift, so I couldn't get out so easily, yeah? So I was locked there like in a prison, yeah? So yeah, she took me out, and that's when I started to talk about it for the first time. I didn't even have to because it was pretty obvious, but yeah, and I felt so much better at the end of the day. I thank her so much for being there at the time. That was the first step, yeah, on my way to feel better. Then I also decided to go GP right away to get some medication, because I knew it's not about me now, it's about the boys. So I can't be threatened, like danger for them. Yeah, so they gave me medication. Of course they worked, but from time to time it always came back. Once my mom was supposed to come over, that's when I started to feel depressed again. It was maybe, I don't know, a couple of weeks after what I just said. And I felt so depressed again. I was crying for no reason. So I knew when she would come, I need to tell her, because I can't pretend for 2 weeks I'm fine. You just can't. You know what I mean? When you're feeling these feelings, you can't hide them when they're really happening to you at that time.
I used to put the baby in the car, leave my family, whoever was visiting, leave them at home, put the baby in the car, drive around and scream and cry.
Yeah.
And then come back so they wouldn't notice that there's something wrong, like my eyes were not red.
When my mom came, she just opened the door and I was crying, yeah. So she was the second person I confessed, and this is what really started to help me, talking. That's what I always say, talk, please talk, even if it's not that horrible, even if you just have a bad day or you cry from time to time, you just need to talk to someone to prevent yourself from something horrible.
Yourself for the babies. No, that's the reality of it.
Yeah. So then, yeah, I started to talk to other people. I decided to write about it, to write a blog. That's what my mom advised to me, actually, because she knows I love writing, and she said, why wouldn't you make it no advantage, but turn it into something to help other people? It's like, yeah, that's a good idea. So yeah.
Was your partner supportive of you?
Oh my God, yes.
He was there in the house with you.
Yes,
he knew
yes,
it was
yes.
happening.
Yeah, the most supportive. Yeah. Also, talking to him helped me a lot. This was great that I could open up. Didn't need to hide anything.
What do you think it would have happened if you didn't have this kind of relationship? Like, let's say if you wouldn't tell him anything.
Oh God.
Exactly.
I don't want to think about it, but these mothers have my full respect, like single mothers or someone with a horrible partner.
Exactly. We need, as you say, especially for single moms, they need a supportive community, and we
Yeah.
need to speak more about it, because we need to encourage them to open themselves up. You can't live with this thing, because anything can happen at any point. And I was lucky enough, just like you, to have a partner who sit down with me, as you say, and be like, I can't take your son anymore. Like, I was driving on the highway today, and I was in the car with him, and he was crying, and I thought of just crushing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how many men can actually take that?
Mm-hmm.
That kind of conversation, like, babe, how was your day? I almost killed us.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Mm-hmm.
chilling, like, let's have a tea and talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
It's just so hard. And like,
Mm-hmm.
if you're alone, having to live with these kind of feelings without talking about it,
You need to talk. You need to talk.
I can't imagine that kind of life. Like, you need to get that pain out.
Mm-hmm.
Is-
Yes.
What did your mom? How did your mom react to that?
Oh,
Especially
amazing.
you were so many months into it.
Yeah, I have so many loving people around me. I'm so lucky. So she was amazing, of course, very supportive, and she didn't want to leave back home when she saw what state I was in. Yeah, she is very supportive still, and my sister as well. Why do we fear? I think it's because we don't read and we don't see all these information in daily life in public. We don't read about them. We don't hear them. But yeah, it's also the fear of being judged.
Yeah.
But at the same time, no one would judge us. So why do we? Maybe we judge ourselves more than.
We judge ourselves too much. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I guess, I mean, personally, I felt weak. I'm a very strong, active woman. And being in that state, it made me feel weak. Like,
Yeah.
I can't sort of live the life that I was given. Like,
Yes.
how am I going to push forward? How am I going to be a role model for my kid? Or how am I going to keep my family together if I can't take care of myself? Like, and you do feel like you do feel guilty
Yes.
for having those negative thoughts.
Yes.
You feel as a failure, as a mom, as a wife. So if you perceive yourself like that, how are the other ones supposed to perceive you, isn't it? But then at the same time, because you are suffering of depression, you have a negative opinion about yourself and everything you do anyway. Like, you can't remove that from your perspective. You're not worth of life.
Yes. And it's running in circles. There's no way out. There is a way out, but for you at that moment there is not.
There is not. And it's amazing how all you have to do is to talk about it.
Yes.
And that's it. Everything starts, being better overnight just by talking about it, like getting that rock off your chest. The more you speak about it, the easier it becomes to tell your story. Like, when I go on my lives and I tell my stories, like, in the beginning I would choke and I would just feel this thing here just grabbing my throat, like I couldn't finish my sentences. While now I can make sense a little bit more, not fully. And it's just, it just becomes, like something that you want to advise people on and just encourage them to do something for themselves, isn't it?
And you don't understand how could you be so afraid to talk about it. At least I do feel that now, like, what was I afraid of? There's nothing to be afraid of at all.
Is this stigma, like, even if the hospital or the medical system doesn't care about it, doesn't teach you about it, doesn't emphasize on the possibility of you having it, then how can you expect normal people, especially people who are not mothers, to understand this kind of disorder condition?
Yes, you can't. No. You can only understand when you experience it, or someone from your loved ones, because that's when you search for information. That's when you look up for it and whatever. But unless it involves you, you don't care really. So how could you know about it? Talking was the best medication. But since I started to talk and to take the pills, even if it comes back, it's never the same. I don't even think about something harm someone or myself.
It's just episodes, isn't it? Just short episodes.
Yes. Usually at the end of some hard day or so. But it's never like before that I can't even get up the bed. So now I'm able to, to be functional, to do stuff normally. Once you tell to yourself, how could I live without my kids? That's when you know you're fine.
You're fine. Yeah, it's just one of those hard days. Especially you go double. Like, I can't get that off my head. You go double. Like, I know I carry my child in one hand and the bags in the other one, a backpack on my back. Like, and you get home and you're like,
it is hard. It is hard, but it's joy as well.
it is, but it's normal sometimes to feel like you can't do it anymore. Sometimes I just leave my shopping in the car and I'm like, babes, when you get home, just take it out from the car. I can't hold son in one hand and do everything else with the other one.
Mm-hmm.
If only we would have at least 3 hands, that would be amazing.
That would be, ideal. I'll never know any difference. That's the good thing for me. So I don't know what it's like to have one. For instance, when I change them, I don't think about it like one first and then the other one. If you know what I mean, like it's like one task, both of them.
They come together.
Yeah.
It's you've done amazing, honestly. Like,
Thank you.
You are a hero, and the fact that you put yourself out there, and the fact that sometimes you feel like you're not 100%, and yet you go for it, and you know, okay, today I'm not at my best, but I will be tomorrow. And that kind of attitude is what's gonna give you that happy life that you deserve for you and your family as well. And if you're not proud enough of you, I tell you, I'm super proud of you, and the honesty, the everything that you put out there, like, man, it can get more inspiring than that.
Oh, thank you.
Honestly, it can't.
Thank you so much.
Would you? I feel like we're starting to wrap it up now. I'm getting too emotional. We can do it some other time again. If you want, but I'm getting too
Maybe some other topic then.
Anything about motherhood. If you have anything to say about motherhood out there, just give me a call. We set it up, and we say it.
More than happy to.
What advice would you have for mothers who are finding it freaking hard?
Yeah, I know I talk about it too much, but it's never enough. Talk, please talk. Yeah, even if it's a stranger on the street, it will help you. Trust me. And then other thing that I needed to hear that badly, and no one told me. You'll be happy one day. Don't worry. You'll be happy more than ever before. I promise you that.
I second that. Your life can be amazing again, even better than before.
Yes. You can't get it now, but you will. Don't worry. If we did, you will as well.